Hey Dave, thank you so much. For meeting today. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. I got some time outside, went on a hike, hung out with the wife. It's a good weekend. How was yours?
I'm all right. I'm all right. It's always sad to come in on a Monday, and
Yeah.
having to do things. But I'm glad that we get to talk. I have something in mind that I've been wanting to talk about. And the
Oh
last year
yeah.
has been a really good year, and I'm wondering if you have some time to chat today because I have something
Yeah,
good planned for
I
you.
actually have to run to a meeting in 1 minute. If you have something really important, we can talk about it now. Otherwise, anything urgent you need.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today, I kind of want to have a little bit more of an intimate conversation, and I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, and that is how to make clear and concise requests, and how to plan those requests and how to plan those conversations in a way that allows you to have those conversations being honored, have those conversations being listened to, and hopefully, accomplish your end goals. So if this is something that interests you, hang around. We're gonna have a good one. So this topic is important to me because I noticed that in both my career, but also in my personal relationships, as those relationships or jobs evolved, it was important for me to always make requests. As things change, as you get a promotion, or whether you are talking to your siblings about something, your parents or your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, you will always have something to ask them for. And as I was making those requests, earlier on I noticed that sometimes people would get upset or people wouldn't feel good. While I understood that it's not always up to me to manage people's feelings and how they feel about things, I also became aware that if I wanted to be successful when making those requests, it was important for me to make sure that I did it in a way where it didn't create friction. Now, that doesn't mean that I was demanding things or that I demand things today, but if you do things in a certain manner, at least you are ensured that you're going to have a positive conversation where a person may just say, hey, at least I know what you want. And from there, they're able to honor those requests. So the first thing that I do before having those conversations is kind of sitting down, looking inwardly and thinking to myself, what is it that I want to get out of this conversation? And how can I convey that hopefully in one sentence? So in my own life, I've been in situations where somehow my requests were not clear because I was not clear internally. I wasn't aware of what it is that I really wanted. I knew I wanted to get something, but I wasn't able to convey that in a way that was effective because I didn't know exactly what my request was. So the first tip or the first step into having a successful conversation is really ensuring that you are aware of what it is that you want. A few years ago, I went and I had a conversation with my brother. I felt that my brother was mean or acting in a way that was a little bit hurtful to me. So I remember coming up to me and I remember telling him, hey, I noticed that the last few days you've been just kind of mean, just kind of hurtful, and I wonder if you can improve. Interestingly enough, my brother was like, okay, what do you want me to do? And I remember not having an answer for that. And I think that if I would have planned that conversation better, if I wasn't just shooting from the hip and I would have just, really thought through, okay, I'm gonna go and talk to my brother. What is it that I want to get out of this? What is it that I want to improve? And how can theoretically he improve it? The second tip or the second strategy that I have, or tactic if you want to call it that, making sure that I let the person know that an important conversation is taking place. I have had times where I would just meet with somebody and I would just start trying to talk about things or trying to make requests, and oftentimes that person was not ready. Perhaps it wasn't the right time, perhaps the conversation was kind of like too dark or too light, and they just weren't in the right headspace in order to have that conversation. So the more that I can give somebody a heads up and I can say, hey man, I want to talk to you about something. Or in the case that is your boss or a superior or somebody at work, you can just write them an email. Hey, I have a few things that I want to discuss on Friday at X time. Would you have 30 minutes to chat about this thing? And in fact, you can even give them a preview at a high level of what it is that you want to discuss. Oftentimes I don't, because I don't want them to come up with their guards up, but I do let them know, hey, I want to have a conversation and I'd love to have 30 minutes of your undivided attention. Is that something that you can do for me? And that is something that I have learned does not increase the probability of having your request actually getting a yes, but you will have a very high probability of having that conversation. I have been in situations where a lot of people have told me, hey, I'm not in the right mindset, or hey, I wasn't ready. So again, ensuring that you have the right date and time and communicating that to the other person is going to increase the likelihood that your request is heard. Now, whether that request is approved is going to depend a little bit more on the other tips that I'm going to give you. Now that you know what exactly you want to request, and now that you've set up a date, I think it's also worthwhile to understand and have that in mind, that before submitting your request or before actually laying out what it is that you want, you start by describing the situation that created the need for this, and start really laying the groundwork by saying things like, you know what, I noticed that you've been hurtful, that you've been saying mean things to me. As a matter of fact, last week when we met, you did X, Y, and Z, and I felt horrible. As a result, I want you to start, and now you can submit your request. Or you can start saying, hey, guess what? For the last few months, I noticed that my payment has been late. I'm wondering, before anything, is there something that's going off here? What is going on? What's happening? In any case, what you want to do is you want to set up the groundwork. You want to start explaining why you want that request. Don't just give your request. Start by really prioritizing the reasons why this request makes sense and explaining that to the other person. So now that you lay the groundwork, the person knows the situation, the person knows how you feel, I think it's time to just pretty much outright state your request. I know that you've already put in the time really thinking through what it is that you want and what it is the outcome. So go ahead, put in the request, and also be ready to answer any questions about the specifics of it. Make sure that you understand how your request could take place, what it is that that person needs in order to make it happen. I think in my example earlier, my brother asked me, okay, I want to honor your request. How can I do that? So I wasn't ready. I think in your case, you want to make sure that you have possible ways or possible solutions to ensure that your requests are being met. All right, so now you're in the goal line. You are done. Person has heard your request. So what happens now? You go home, everything happens, you won the lotto? Not really. I think that you want to make sure that the person understands what it is that you asked for. You want to make sure that they are in agreement or in disagreement. So you can have questions. You can say, hey, John, do you agree with what it is that we want to do? Hey, boss, are you in agreement with the strategy that I brought? Hey, wife or husband, what do you think about this? And make sure that A, they understand, and B, that the conversation doesn't end at the request. You want to make sure that that you come to some sort of resolution. And at that point, it's also important to make sure that you're not demanding, you are asking or you are requesting something. And if you put that in that level, you are likelier to get the outcome that you want. The last tip, and I think the most important one, is that you don't always have to get a yes. You have to be comfortable with sometimes getting a no. And I think it's important that you respect the situation, that you respect the other person by being okay with that, right? Any situation where it is okay to ask for anything, I think that you also have to be comfortable with hearing a no. Again, let me say that again. In any situation where it is okay to ask, it also should be okay for you to say no. And that was honestly really important for me. Every time I asked for something and I didn't get it, I would remember getting really upset. After a while, I understood that that wasn't helping me. And there has been plenty of times where they told me, I'm sorry, this is something that's not going to work. You will never be able to get this request approved. And now it's up to you to make this decision. Do I want to stay in this environment? Do I want to stay with this person? Take a moment to think through that. You are never going to get that information if you start demanding things and just making requests that you're always going to get a yes. If you are taking risks, if you're going out there and putting yourself in a place to make all sorts of requests, most likely you're going to hear no's. You're going to get lots of no's, but that is okay because regardless, you're going to get information.
Anything urgent you need to tell me, or?
No, it's totally okay. It's urgent, but you know what? We'll get to it next time. Thank you so much, and okay. I'll set something up.
All right, great to see you.
Thank you. So I hope that you enjoy this session. I hope that you really enjoy this content. Making clear and concise requests is something that I've been working on for a long time. And honestly, I hope that you found it extremely helpful. And this is something that you can use in your daily life. Again, if you like this content, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. And honestly, I hope to hear from you soon.